Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and for today's video, I want to do a review on The Happiness Advantage. I think I started reading this book a couple of months ago. Lately, I've been more of a fan of reading fiction books. I've really been into Colleen Hoover or like some sort of thrillers, Lisa Jewell, etc. Anything that's like been kind of trendy in the, book world or even on TikTok apparently, I've been reading those. But in the past, I only used to read self-help books, nonfiction books, business books, etc. For some reason, this one I decided to pick up because it seemed like a good one. The reason I really started to stay away from nonfiction books is because I've read so much of them that a lot of them kind of say the same thing, or I've reached a point in my personal development where anything that I read doesn't feel entertaining anymore, or I'm not really like taking something from it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I'm perfect, or I'm not saying I've reached this like peak personal development, but I have a very strong sense of who I am. So I find it difficult these days to read nonfiction books because sometimes I just don't like what they're saying, or yeah, like I said, it just doesn't speak to me anymore the same way that it used to. It doesn't feel fresh and exciting, or it's just repeats of what I read before. But yeah, I picked this one up. I liked the cover. I don't know, it just sounded nice. I was looking into, when I initially ordered this, I was like trying to find, how I can increase the happiness in my life and feel more happy, because I realized that I was starting to kind of go to negative thoughts again. Like I had gone through this really traumatic thing in regards to like my Crohn's and all that, and like feeling really sick. And then once I started feeling better, I started feeling like so much happier. But then I started feeling upset in my job. So I was like, why do you keep coming back to this? So I just wanted to have something to fall back on, I guess. But anyways, what I'm gonna do with this book review is just like any of my other book reviews. I've only done full book reviews for nonfiction books. This is gonna look pretty similar, where I have a bunch of tabs in the book and I read what stood out to me from this book. I will say that overall, I would rate it like a 7 out of 10. I do think it's worth reading. I got this used off of Amazon. I think it was only like $5 or $6 or something, pretty affordable. I like how it looks. I like how it feels. I love a paperback book, and it's like a good one to read in bed or in the morning, whatever, anywhere that you want to read. It's a good feel and size of a book. I think quite a bit of it was repetitive, or it just like was giving too many examples. So for me, I started to get bored toward the end of it. And there were parts that I read and I would go, for example, here, there were like pages and pages that I didn't tab. So like nothing was profound to me, nothing was too new or didn't stand out to me. But I do still recommend this book, and I will link it down below if you are interested. But we can go ahead and get started. This was written by Shawn Achor, or yeah, I'm gonna say Achor. That's what it looks like. Now, early on in the book, he explains like why he wanted to study this, why he started studying it, and why he wrote this book. And he put, if we study merely what is average, we will remain merely average. And I thought this was interesting because he says the typical approach to understanding human behavior has always been to look for the average behavior or outcome. But in my view, this misguided approach has created what I call the cult of the average in the behavioral sciences. If someone asks a question such as how fast can a child learn how to read in a classroom, science changes that question to how fast does the average child learn to read in the classroom. We then ignore the children who read faster or slower and tailor the classroom toward the average child. But yeah, I do think that is kind of strange that this even applies to medical stuff. When you go to the doctor and you get your blood test and you like fall within a range, that range is just based off of other people's ranges, I don't know. I've always thought that was strange because those numbers are just based off of an average of what people have, like what their blood results are. And same goes with psychology, as he is saying. So basically what he's saying is like it's more important to find the people who are happy, like the outliers, because most people are not very happy, unfortunately, and see what it is that they're doing and what actually makes people happy. So this book, he breaks down like 7 principles to happiness. Obviously, it's going to take more time and effort on your part, but it's like these 7 things. I'm not going to tell you exactly those 7 things because I think that's better for you to just read it. I actually found it a bit confusing because it wasn't just like do this. It was each chapter just had a different topic type of thing. But the first page of it, I did highlight. So this is called The Happiness Advantage, How Happiness Gives Your Brain and Your Organization the Competitive Edge. And he says, we have been led to believe that happiness orbited around success. We are learning that the opposite is true. When we are happy, when our mindset and mood are positive, we are smarter, more motivated, and thus more successful. Happiness is the center and success revolves around it. And I like that. That's interesting to me because we do think that, oh, once I reach this amount of money, I'll be happy. Or once I go here, I'll be happy. Once I reach some sort of success, I will be happy. But what they're saying, what he's saying, and from the research he's done, is that you will find more success and happiness by already being happy. He does end up defining happiness, which is really difficult to do. Actually, let me start with this. So he says there is no single meaning. Happiness is relative to the person experiencing it. This is why scientists often refer to it as subjective well-being, because it's based on how we each feel about our own lives. In essence, the best judge of how happy you are is you. But then he says, how do scientists define happiness? Essentially, as the experience of positive emotions, pleasure combined with deeper feelings of meaning and purpose. Happiness implies a positive mood in the present and a positive outlook for the future. This next part was the main thing that stood out to me and my largest takeaway, or like something that I would want to implement in my life. And I think I had mentioned this in a recent vlog, or maybe like my March reset video or something, but he talks about priming the brain with positive thoughts. And basically this is thinking of something positive or something that has made you happy in the past before you do something. So before you take an exam, before an interview, before you start your work for the day. My camera's gonna die. And basically that sets you up for like a better result. You would probably score a better score on your exam, or have a better interview, just have a better work day in general. He puts an example. Students who were told to think about the happiest day of their lives right before taking a standardized math test outperformed their peers. And people who expressed more positive emotions while negotiating business deals did so more efficiently and successfully than those who were more neutral or negative. So this is something that you could easily incorporate into your day-to-day life. So before something that's stressful, write a gratitude list or think of something happy, watch something that makes you laugh, and you're probably gonna have a better outcome. Obviously that's not guaranteed, but I think that's a cool thing to try. So this is where I think it's important to like practice gratitude every single morning, because if you're starting your day with that, or at least like maybe you sit down at your desk, whether that be in the office or at home before you start your work day, and just write a list of things that you're grateful for and actually reflect on those things. Don't do it just absent-mindedly. You want to be aware of like the positive things that you're writing down, and then you should have a better day. So I thought that was cool and definitely something you could implement. He continued talking about that, so I highlighted another part. A quick burst of positive emotions doesn't just broaden our cognitive capacity, it also provides a quick and powerful antidote to stress and anxiety, which in turn improves our focus and our ability to function at our best level. And just think about when you have a funny conversation, or when you're laughing till your belly hurts, or when you're laughing so hard that you're not even making any noise. Those are my favorite types of laughs, where you're crying and like you cannot stop laughing. Think of how good you feel after. It's like the best feeling ever. I love laughing, and it just feels so good. And then you put yourself into a better mood. Or there have been many times where I was in a bad place mentally because of something going on in my life, and I will resort to the videos that I know always will make me laugh. There's certain YouTubers, there's certain movies or TV shows that just put a smile on my face or physically make me laugh, and when I watch those, I feel so much better. Like, it's super distracting, and then you just create this higher energy that kind of carries with you at least for a little bit. Another thing that's easy to implement in your life, like if you don't want to do a gratitude list, or you know, find that to be difficult or something, then you could put on a funny video before doing something that's difficult or before starting your day. In that same principle number 1, this is on page 51, he starts talking about ways to boost your mood. And I feel like this was like the biggest takeaway of it. Like for most people, you could write these things down and incorporate them in your day-to-day life. So the first thing he put was to meditate at least just 5 minutes a day. So that is something that I try to incorporate into my life as much as possible, but I have been slacking on that, so it's something I want to get back into. Then he says, find something to look forward to. I do this all the time. I will literally in my notebook write down things to look forward to, or like upcoming fun stuff, and I will list those out, and it just like makes the day-to-day mundane life more exciting. The next thing, commit conscious acts of kindness. I think this is a big one because I know that when I do something for somebody else, it does feel good. This is something I would like to do more of. Just like naturally find ways to spread kindness more. And honestly, I'm not around many people too often because like I work from home now, and I really don't interact with people too much throughout my day. So I think this takes a little bit more effort, but doing kind things for people, or even just like for the planet, like picking up worms makes me feel good. Like I hate when I see worms on the floor, like when I'm walking in the street, and it bothers me if I leave them behind. So I have to like go back and pick them up, put them in the soil, at least try to save their life. It's just little things like that, like putting a bug outside when it's in your house, or I don't know. I try my best to always do what feels right for me and what would like make me feel good in that moment. So you could definitely incorporate more kindness. Next, he says to infuse positivity into your surroundings. Watch less TV, pictures of loved ones, certain decorations, 20 minutes outside in good weather. Yeah, which is for sure helpful. Anytime I go outside, I feel better. I'm like, oh, I can make this decision now, or oh, I feel better about this. I can blah, blah, blah. I like having plants around. I like having fairy lights. Y'all know that. Having a clean space makes me feel good. There's a lot of things that you could do. Also, of course, just like being around good people. Your environment is very important to your happiness. Next is exercise. I feel like this should have been higher up in the list. It's on the list, but I feel like this should be number 1 before meditate, because nothing beats the feeling after you exercise. Like after you had a good workout, solid workout, sweating, your endorphins, or having like the runner's high, best feeling. And that definitely boosts your mood. And the more often that you exercise and make it a habit, you just feel better about yourself. You feel more confident. Overall, it just improves your life tremendously. Next, spend money, but not on stuff. So instead of spending it on stuff like clothes, concerts, group dinners out, vacations, pro-social spending, that boosts happiness. And I agree with this. Like, spending money can be a tricky one because there are times, it's like when I spend money on a vacation, it doesn't bother me too much. It'll be very expensive and I'm like, oh, whatever, this is a good thing. This is an experience. So I will say I do feel a difference when I spend $500 on something to do with vacation versus like if I had to spend $500 on clothes, I would feel really bad about that, and it definitely wouldn't make me feel happy. I know for some people it would, but I can definitely relate to that. Like I feel better spending money on experiences, concerts make me happy, and vacations. And then the last thing he put here is exercise a signature strength. Everyone is good at something. Perhaps you give excellent advice. You're great with little kids. You whip up a mean batch of blueberry pancakes, blah, blah, blah. Even more fulfilling than using a skill, though, is exercising a strength of character, a trait that is deeply embedded in who we are. I think that is important because it gives you the confidence. And I don't know, I find that confidence and happiness go hand in hand. And whenever I do something that I'm good at, like for me, I find that I'm pretty good at weightlifting. That's one of my hobbies. It's a skill of mine. I would say it's a skill. I have good form and I work out well. I edit videos, I film videos. Those things make me feel good and in turn make me happy. Okay, this next area I highlighted was from principle number 2, changing your performance by changing your mindset, and on page 63. While we of course can't change reality through sheer force of will alone, we can use our brain to change how we process the world, and that in turn changes how we react to it. Happiness is not about lying to ourselves or turning a blind eye to the negative, but about adjusting our brain so that we see the ways to rise above our circumstances. Yeah, so I think that's a good point to put in here. I'm glad he did that, because you don't want to, it's okay to be sad at times or upset. You don't have to pretend. And I don't think it's necessary whatsoever to force yourself to try and be happy when you're just not right now. Yeah, it's just about looking at things from a different perspective, or finding the good things, I guess, in negative moments. But it's also not always necessary to do that. You know, like if you want to feel sad right now, that is okay too. There was just a little line that I highlighted. The more you believe in your own ability to succeed, the more likely it is that you will. Because this is facts. I believe in myself so much. Like, I know that no matter what, as long as I'm alive, I'm gonna hit my goals. And, you know, my goals shift, they change over time, but I will do what I need to do to get where I want to be. And it doesn't mean that things are gonna happen quickly, or, you know, it doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect at all. But I believe it, and I trust it, and I just go for it. I think that kind of circles back to discipline, because when you have discipline, that leads to confidence, and when you have discipline and confidence, it leads to happiness, and all of it circles back to how you feel about yourself. And, you know, I trust myself to be a certain way, or I just trust myself to be successful in life, and so I will be. And nobody can like take that away from me. You know what I'm saying? And I think for a lot of people, it's hard to think that way because they kind of self-sabotage. So if you say you're going to do something, start doing it. Even if you just start small. Is it gonna be a 5-minute walk outside? Are you gonna read 10 pages of a book? Are you gonna wake up at 6 in the morning? Whatever it is, like, you need to start proving to yourself that you can do it. And the more that you can prove to yourself that you can do something, the more you start to trust yourself and your ability to do those things and be who you say you want to be, or do the things you say you want to do. And then you'll start believing in yourself. I talk about that a lot in like my goal achievement course and my discipline course, actually. That's why I feel like I have a lot to say on that. And those are always linked down below if you're interested. A quick little promo there. Okay, now on page 110, he was talking about some sort of study, and he says, today we can say for certain, not just anecdotally, that great suffering or trauma can actually lead to great positive change across a wide range of experiences. What kind of positive growth? Increases in spirituality, compassion for others, openness, and even eventually overall life satisfaction. After trauma, people also report enhanced personal strength and self-confidence, as well as a heightened appreciation for and greater intimacy in their social relationships. I agree with this so much, and I have gone through, you know, some trauma over this last year with my surgeries and Crohn's disease, and it has given me a new lease on life. Now, I would not say I'm the happiest person ever, but I'm definitely probably the happiest I've been, because after going through all that and like just starting to accept the reality of like, okay, I have an autoimmune disease, I have to take this medication. I've accepted that. I am trying to move on from that. And now that I'm feeling a lot better from my medication, it's like a world of a difference. I can work out, I can eat foods, I can enjoy my time with my people, you know, and I'm so grateful for that. And it has made me a lot happier, because I used to dwell on small things and get so upset about small things that now just do not bother me in the same way whatsoever, because I went through some of the hardest shit I've ever been through, and the hardest shit I've ever been through, actually. And I don't ever want to experience that again, of course. And now that I have that perspective, I can see that, and it has helped me to grow even more. It has helped me to be more proud of myself. It has helped me to push through those times where, like, for example, if I don't want to go to the gym, I'm like, I can go to the gym. Because I wasn't able to go to the gym for a few months, but I get to go to the gym now, and it feels so good. My body can move. I'm not in pain. So I don't want to take all of that for granted, and it has definitely made me happier. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself in a traumatic situation. If you've never had trauma, that's okay. I think maybe everybody experiences some sort of trauma or sadness or has gone through something sad that they can look back on. But if you haven't, definitely don't do that on purpose. But I think that's very powerful is, you know, when you go through something bad, on the other end of it, there is that light at the end of the tunnel, you know, because on the other end, it is so much better. And just like keep pushing through because you will see the difference. Okay, then several pages later, 178. Researchers have found that social support has as much effect on life expectancy as smoking, high blood pressure, obesity, and regular physical activity. Studies show that each positive interaction employees have during the course of the workday actually helps return the cardiovascular system back to resting levels. That's insane, and I think it's something that a lot of us don't even realize. And honestly, I don't have a huge social life. I am actually trying to be more social, not just because of this, but it is very important to have people in your life. And, you know, obviously I have my family, I have my boyfriend, but you just need to have other people around. And I think it is important to have interactions, get to know other people, talk about stories and exchange things with others, because everyone has a different life story, everybody has different opinions, and I don't know, I've just found like I've been wanting to be a better friend lately or hang out with people, and I do think that's really important. This also goes to show like you can improve the lives of other people too. So because it was saying, you know, the positive interaction with a coworker, and that's something you can do for somebody else, like give a compliment to somebody or encourage them with whatever it is they're doing. It doesn't have to be your coworker, but anybody in your life, and you can really have an effect on other people, and then it kind of comes back to you. And that actually leads to my last point. This is literally, it's the last page, and the section is called Every Big Wave Starts Small. And this is kind of like the butterfly effect, where, you know, they say that a butterfly flapping its wings can literally cause a hurricane. And I've always found that really fascinating, because it's insane what small little things can do in your life. Like, you just never really know. And it could be the day-to-day things that you're doing, or just one simple thing that happened in your life, like you leaving 10 seconds earlier than you expected to, or 10 seconds later, you sending an email, you doing something. Like, there could be any tiny little thing in your life that has a huge effect. And this could be positive or negative. And in this situation, he says, each tiny move toward a more positive mindset can send ripples of positivity through our organizations, our families, and our communities. In part one, he had talked about we don't really know the extent of our true potential, and he says the ripple effect is the perfect example of how there are no real discernible limits to our influence and our power. So again, it just goes back to how you can change your life little by little, or somebody else's even. And this is why I always talk about on this channel and my finance channel, like, it's okay if you're not hitting your goals perfectly, or not doing the things that you expected to do always. Of course, as I was saying, it goes back to that discipline too. Like, it is important to work towards your goals and be disciplined if that's what you want in your life. But as long as you're doing tiny little things to get you closer to happiness or positivity or just good things in your life, it will pay off, and it just all has a little effect on your life, even if you don't think it does. That's really powerful, because you can do little things in your life on a daily basis that can help you to become a better person, become a happier person. But it's also kind of a reminder to be careful with the negative things. So if you're watching something like a really negative TV show that could affect your long-term thoughts, or watching the news on a daily basis, or getting involved in drama that really doesn't matter, it's like those types of things can also hold you back and take away your happiness. So just be careful, because the butterfly effect works both ways. But yeah, those are the main points that I got from The Happiness Advantage, how a positive brain fuels success in work and life. I do suggest you check this book out. It is a great read. As I just went through, there was a lot of takeaways from this. Yeah, so to be honest, the world isn't set up to be too happy, and especially in America. Like, you know, the way the news, the media, the way people just are. Like, a lot of people are not very nice, they're not very happy, and I think that you have to be the person responsible for that in your life, because that's all you can do. You can be the only person controlling your happiness. Of course, other people can cause you to feel unhappy and stuff, but at the end of the day, it is up to you. It's how you think, it's how you live. And I find that very, very powerful, which is why I try my best to implement positive habits and do things that make me feel good and make me feel happy. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna close it out there, but please comment down below if you have read this book or if you're gonna pick it up. As I said, it will be linked down below. Enjoy it and come back here. Let me know what you think. If there's any specific nonfiction books that you would like me to review, please also comment those down below. But otherwise, that is it for this review. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It really supports my channel, and I will see you in my next video.